Alright, here's another video I want to make for the class, kind of over chapter 3, just to kind of help with Excel. I am on a Mac, but I am not going to use any special features like Excel stat or anything like that. I'm just going to do kind of the formula base, kind of procedures, as well as show some of the hotkeys in Excel so we can get a little more comfortable with it. I'm also going to do a few formulas by hand with Excel for you all that want to have a better understanding of the formulas as well as kind of get a better understanding of Excel. We have a small data set here. And it's just some random numbers I made up. So, as in class, the first thing we always want to know is our sample size, which is n. So, one way to do it is just count them, but when you have hundreds or thousands of data points, you don't want to do that. So in Excel, put in an equal sign, and then count, double click, and then highlight your data points. So our sample size is 10. Now, I'm going to do the mean both ways. So how do we find the mean? Well, we sum up our data. So highlight these, and then come over here. And there is an auto sum on everyone's keyboard, and just click that. So it sums to 594. And then we do what? We take that number and we divide it by, so we take that number and divide it by how many we have, which is 10. So our mean is 59.4. I want everybody to remember what the original data was, so I'm going to highlight that like a green. Now we write this. This is a sum. So when you go back and look at this, you can kind of see what means what. All right, well, if you don't want to do the formula and you want to use the formulas already pre-built into Excel, remember in Excel, it's called an average. And then we highlight just the data. And we get the same answer, which we should. The mode, well, we're on median. So median is 10 data points, 1, 2. So if we want to do it by hand, you find the two middle ones, right? So that should be these two. If you notice, there's 4 numbers above me and 4 numbers below. So to find the median, we're going to average 96 and 72 and divide by 2. Median equals 96 plus, made a mistake. First thing we should do is sort our data, especially when we get down here to build our box plot. So how do you sort? Well, you highlight your data and you come over to the data key, and there is a function called sort. And you just click on the sort, and now it has sorted my data from smallest to largest. Now, let's recheck our median numbers. Yeah, so now I see it's 57 and 61. So you must sort your data first. If you're going to use the pre-built keys, like pre-built functions, sorry, in Excel, you do not need to sort it. But it's always good to sort it anyway. So we actually just sum in 57 and 61 equals 57 plus 61. Put that in parentheses because we must add those first and then divide by 2. Order of operations in algebra. So our median is 59. So if I come over here and use the pre-built key, median, highlight the data, I get 59. Mode, the number that repeats the most. I see 2 23s and nothing else. But there's also a function in Excel called mode. Range is not in Excel, so you have to do the formula. After you sort your data, your range is just your highest number. Make sure I'm in the cell. Equals your highest number, 99, minus your lowest number. And you can just click on the boxes. You don't have to type the number, so I just clicked on the box. So I'll do it both ways this time so you can see it. Add them together. My range is 77. Mid-range is, I'm going to put these in parentheses, I'm going to type it all the formula at once, is highest, plus the lowest, close my parentheses, and then divide by 2. Every time we're dividing by 2, we're really just taking the average of two numbers. That's why it's 2. Variance. All right, I'm going to do it one last time by hand so people can kind of understand the formula, because this is key. So I'm going to kind of write what I'm doing here so you can see what the formula is. So parentheses, x minus the mean squared. That's what we're going to do for every one of these cells according to the formula. I'm not going to do the shortcut formula, I'm going to do the regular formula. If you prefer the shortcut, you can play around with Excel and figure out how you like to do it. Well, x is just each data point, so parentheses equals that value. Oop, that line goes backwards. Equals first. That value minus your mean. Remember, we don't want the mean to change, so I got to put dollar signs around just the mean. If we do that, it locks that cell, so it will not change. We want the other cells to change when we drag this down. Close the parentheses. Shift 6 gives you the little caret. That's how you raise things to a power. And then we square it. And then if you, like I said, big plus, bring it down to the little plus. Click and hold, drag down to the end of your data. And now you can see it has gone through, and each time x is changing, but nothing else is, and that's what we want. That's where we put the dollar signs in. When we highlight, click our sum button. And I'll even add a little, this is how you can get all fancy with Excel. Let's see, the lender layout. No, under home. I'm going to add a bottom double border to show that that's the end of my data set where I'm summing. So I've summed them and squared them. Now I have to divide by n minus 1. So right here, let's call it VAR, equals that divided by parentheses, just so it can help you with the formula, n minus 1, to make it unbiased, 879. So, see if I did the formula right. Variance is VAR of these numbers. Perfect. And how do we find standard deviation? Oops. You take the square root, SQRT. Now I didn't run. Where are you at? You can just type it in, but I like to use their function just because I make sure everything goes in correctly. Square root of that number. There's my standard deviation. Or you can just type in x equals ST DEV, standard deviation. Highlight your data, and we get the same numbers. Another thing, if you want to do in Excel, because these are way bigger, and we said we're going to go one data point past, you come over here where you have these bunch of circles, and you click, and it lines everything up. And if you want to add more, you just keep clicking them to wherever you want it. But 1 decimal point is what we said was good for a class. So everything's now in 1 decimal point. So hopefully that helps kind of do it. So these were done, I'll even right up here, by hand. So you get an idea. I just used the formulas. I'll highlight that so it brings your attention to it as yellow. And these were the built-in Excel formulas. I like this yellow. So you can see the two differences. We get the same results. So it's good practice either way, however you want to do it. Now, to build a box plot. Excel is very challenging. I'm still not going to build a video on that because we can just go to the site, like we said, iMath, AS, box plot, Google that, go to the site. But what you have to do is these few calculations first, right? So if you click merge, it just moves boxes around. We'll highlight that green. All right, so first thing you need for a box plot is your minimum, right? So equals min is how you do it in Excel, and you highlight your data. Now, if you sorted it, you see it's the first data point, so you can just pull the data. Same with the max, it's the last data point. But if you haven't sorted for some reason, you can just do the max function, and you get to 99. Well, the 50th percentile, we already said in class, that's the median, right? So we already have that calculated, so that just put equals that number right there. No reason to do the calculations twice. 25th percentile. So there's a thing in Excel called percentile. The array is you highlight your data. K is the percentile you want. Well, we want the 25th percentile, so we have to turn it into a decimal, so that's 0.25. And the 25th percentile is 30.75. And then the 75th percentile, you could also, there's another function called quartile. Q. Quartile execute. Let's see if it's quartile. Yeah, quartiles is just as well. Again, you highlight the data. And then, because it's the 75th percent, we're in the third quartile, so you put in a 3, 83.25. So there's how you get your functions for Excel. If you want to do the formula, so percentile formula, just to show it's the same results, it's equals your percentile, so 25th divided by 100 times how many samples you have, n, is 2.5. Which now this says it's 23. Let's see if Excel is doing something different than the percentile formula. Well, let's try it with a 50% to see if we get the same thing. Fifth data point, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so it's going to be a little bit different based on the formula what it looks like Excel has built in. I have a feeling Excel's functions, I'd have to Google it and get back to you, is based on the same way we do medians. This is an even number, it's averaging things out. If you do either one, I will give you credit because this is the formula out of the book. Excel is finding the actual percentile place, like we do with the median, versus the formula, which is finding the closest data point. So if I go back to my 25th, just like we did before, it's 2.5. We round up, so we want the third data point, 1, 2, 3. So it says the answer is 23. Because we round up. Right, so this is I'm still going to leave this in here, and I know it might confuse some of you, but this is a good lesson to show why we have to be careful with technology, especially with Excel. Excel has things pre-built in, and we have to kind of follow their rules. The book has formulas for doing things by hand and trying to simplify things. As far as the box plot goes, either one is correct. This is another issue with statistics. There's no standardized statistics book that formulas everybody follows. We saw that in class with the median, that there's different ways. It's more of the theory, and we apply formulas to help improve the theory. So Excel has found the actual 25th percentile. When we did, like we talked in class, where we round up to 23. So it's not quite the 25th percentile. I'm sure I did highlight everything, so I did right. Okay, perfect. And I guarantee it's if our data is skewed because we have some pretty high numbers above the mean. So when you build your box plot, you'll see that our data is skewed, and I think that is what is having the effects. Either way, this video was made to help some of you that are really kind of stuck with Excel to go back and kind of look at how we're kind of doing the calculations. For the majority of Chapter 3, doing things by hand and doing things in Excel are the same. A little bit of question here on the percentile thing. I'll see if I can dig into the coding that Excel uses. But as far as for the project goes, I'll take either way. If you want to do them by hand, either way you're going to get a box plot out of iMath. Hopefully this has helped. I will see you all in class.